Okay, so now what are the certificate we used in the Kubernetes? We need to know about. So primarily there are three kind of certificate types of certificate TLS certificate which we use for the all this secure connections. One is like we have a CS certificate, okay,
Right.
and we have second one which we have a server certificate, and third one we have a client certificate. Client certificate means yours. It can be client certificate for API server also, or for the master also, client certificate for the worker also, and client certificate for you also, for your workstation, the place which if you look at this one also. So this is also client, can be client for API server.
Yeah, Rajesh, sorry, just a moment, just give me a moment,
Yeah.
please. Go ahead.
So
Yeah.
so the client certificate can be anything. So here, if you look at this is server, this is the client, this is also can be client for the server. In fact,
Correct.
the server also few components can act like a client. This is a client, this is the server, like that. So these are the
Yeah.
three types of certificate you will see. So
Okay.
we have primarily two kind of roles to play in Kubernetes. That means node can play a role of master, or role can play a role of worker. So TLS certificate in Kubernetes, two types of two kind of role you can have it. Master certificate, worker certificate. Workstation
Okay.
certificate also is there, which I'll talk about in some time. Now there
Okay.
is one more. We have that image which you can see is a CA authority. So here you have master
Right.
certificate, worker certificate, and CA certificate. That's the image of the CA authority who's not a hacker. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
that will validate the certificates. Now, what are the components we have? So I think we have discussed already all the component in the master. So Kube API server we have, etcd we have. In the worker we have a kubelet that also require the certificates. Then you have a user. This is you from the end user perspective talking to API server. A scheduler also we have. Look at the arrow is important. Okay, here.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Here again, look at this controller, and here you see that proxy is there. We discuss all this stuff, and
Correct. Correct.
here you see that kubelet talking to the API server. So this is the overall communication happen. Look at the arrow, end user from the left side. End user is talking to the API server. Scheduler is also talking to API server. Proxy also is talking to API server. Controller is also talking to API server. ETCD API server talking to ETCD. Okay, and here
Right.
API server talk to the kubelet. So this whole relationship of the client and server mechanism, you can set it up. So basically here what I'm trying to say, you have to set up a certificate, this two certificate, uh, server certificate and client certificate, not CS certificate. Server certificate and client certificate for all of this, all of this.
Okay.
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 So now which are the certificates which we have in the Kubernetes? So you need to remember that. So first one which you see is a certificate which is a CA certificate, which is here. This is the icon of the CA. You can see, follow my cursor.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
CA
Yeah. Yeah.
certificate. So here ca.crt and ca.key is a certificate and key for the CA. Now,
All right.
what is the API server certificate and key? So named with API server.crt. Now, then what is the key and certificate for etcd? You have this kubelet.crt. Admin crt and .key. It's for, sorry,
Kube.
no. This guy.
Okay. Okay.
Those who are the administrator for cluster. Okay, because this
Okay.
guy also need. Remember the first time when you set up a cluster, very first time you set up this. Let me remind you. This is my master. This is my master, and then ls $home dot q.
Cube.
Yeah, this file is nothing but the admin file itself. Okay,
Correct. Correct.
so this has a. I'll show you this one. config. You see this. This is the certificate authority data. That means for this API call, this key allow that connections. If this key you don't have, this data you don't have, then these connections, even though port will be reachable, IP address will be reachable, that connection will not be made. This is a
Correct. Correct.
trust authority, you can say. But
Yeah.
if you go down, here you have a, this is the certificate data and this is the key. So this is the certificate embedded in the file itself, and this is the key, private key of this machine itself. So this is the admin.cf file part of it. Now this cf file is there in your server only. First time when you create a cluster, it creates.
Okay.
Now, scheduler also have their certificate and key named with the scheduler. Controller also have their certificate and key. And proxy, which is you know that in each worker you have, so you have that also. etcd also have a certificates and key. And here, kubelet also we have it. So remember that there's a kubelet.crt and API server -kubelet.crt. There is a difference here. And are you able to see that?
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So here, both the way it required the connection. So API server -kubelet is the certificate which is located in the master, but kubelet.crt and key can be of the worker machine. Okay. And API server -etcd.crt is from the API to etcd, and etcd is from the for itself. Like etcd, they have their own certificate and key. So these are the certificate which you need to understand that. Now, I would like to show you an official page for it. That will be easier for you. TLS certificate Kubernetes. Okay. So this page is allowed to refer in during the certification. So if you forget that mapping, you can understand this one. So this is not the right page. Uh, just a So you see here, this is the things you have to do there. So certificate management with a KubeADM. So here, these are the certificate which we have, and you see the default expiry which is set actually. So okay, and that means what is your job? You have to rotate the certificate properly. Okay,
Got it. Yeah.
so this is also not the right page actually, but this results are not coming. So go to the administrating certificate management configurations work grid. Okay, I'll just find it in just after some time. Okay, so
Okay.
let's
Okay.
go
Okay.
through this one way. So in that they have a complete explanation about what exactly this and each of this stuff. So yeah, now the question is how do we generate a certificate, create a certificate? So first let me show you the certificate, and then you will have a some confidence on it. So look at my screen very carefully, and you have to. This is a part of your syllabus, so you'll have to do all this stuff. So get qctl get pods -n kube system. Now any comments which you are not comfortable, you please do let me know. Okay. So
Sure. Sure.
now
Yeah.
first let's start with the API server. Okay. So here describe pod, and this is the API server here. Look at this carefully.
Yeah.
This is the pod specifications, and this is the container of that particular pod. So right now there's only one container. The name of the container is API server. And if you look at this very carefully, this part,
Yeah.
So API server receive all the requests. API server receive all the requests. And because of that, you see here, start from the bottom, private key, shard file. This is a service account, multiple service account, which can access the API server. Primarily, this is for the Kubernetes service actually. And here you should see that proxy.
Yeah.
This is a kubelet. So kubelet, you have a two kubelet means two worker is there, means one master node and one worker. And you see here, this is
ETCD.
etcd, yeah. And here, this is the important one here. So this is your CA certificates, client CA certificates. Okay. So what happens when you create a cluster? All this cluster certificate is been set up by KubeADM. So you don't do that time, but after that, once it's get expired and all, you have to rotate these certificates based upon your need actually. So this is the CA and rest of the things client and client certificate and client key, all these things. So because of this, if your client key and client certificate is not there, let's say this is not there, then the API server will not be able to talk to kubelet. Remember that. Look at this image one more time. If this two line is not there, then what will happen? This guy will not be able to talk to this kubelet or this kubelet. So this is there. Because of this, they are able to communicate. Now let's say here downside, here you see proxy. These two are there. Because of that only, the API server is able to talk to the proxy server. Okay. So this is the kubelet, this is the proxy, and etcd itself. So API server need to talk to etcd here. So for that etcd, you have to create a one key and certificate, and this is there. So because of this line only, you are able to talk. I mean, API server is able to talk to the etcd. So this is how this authentication is done. So this is set at the pod level only. I mean, container level only. So if you go here, edit, you can modify this. All these commands you are comfortable. So I don't think so you'll struggle. Yeah.
Correct.
So here you see that etc kubernetes PKI. Here you see the etc kubernetes PKI, etc kubernetes PKI, etc kubernetes PKI, and all stuff like that. So this certificate has been created. Now let's say, for the sake of learning purpose, how do we create a certificate? How do we create a certificate? So there are multiple ways to create a certificate actually. There are three utilities are there, but for in this session, we will use the OpenSSL. Okay. So just create a certificate. So first thing, do you know this RBAC process and all also? Same thing we follow. First thing, you have to generate a private key. Second thing, you have to generate a CSR using the private key. And then CSR file has to be authenticated by CA. And then CA will release the certificate. So these are the three processes which you have. Now, who will do what? So here, I'll just tell you. So understand that this is a three process. Now this is the end user perspective, and this is the admin perspective. There are two perspectives actually: end user perspective, admin perspective. So here, end user means you are having a laptop workstation. So what you will do, you will generate a using OpenSSL will generate a key. Okay. After that, what you'll do, you will also generate a CSR file. This you will do that. Now here, this is done by administrator. So what you will do, you will give this key CSR file to the
CSR
admin,
to the.
yeah, to the admin, and then he will generate this. So this is the perspective of the end user perspective. Now let's say you are configuring the server itself. So server itself, so you are administrator, and this all this thing you are doing for the master. Okay, so master you have multiple components. So you will set up one for, first of all you will set a CA. That's the first step. So CA will have one key and certificate. Okay, after that once key and certificate, you will generate a one second thing you will generate for API server. Then you will generate for the same thing. You will generate for the controller, then scheduler, and all the component which we discussed. And after that, this key and certificate will connect to the all the you'll set at the all the containers for this system pod for the system pod which is being used. So look at this here. These are the system pods. So just now I showed you the API server. You can see the other pods also. So let's say after this, I'll see that etcd. So where's the etcd? Here. Now, if you go a little bit down, see here. So etcd only requires, see, etcd not talking to anyone, not talking to anyone. So that's the reason you see that here. Only API server etcd talking to. So etcd is having the server certificate. Okay. And here you see the server key is here. Okay.
Right.
And here
CS.
it's just so it's receiving all the topics. So only server certificates you have here. And few other stuff like this is not for for other component, but let's say if you create a etcd cluster. ETCD cluster means multiple ECDD pod like distributed high availability and all. Then in that case you can use this one. Okay.
Got it.
Peers certificate and all. So yeah, this is how this ETCD is running, and this is the trusted CA file, the one which has to be there. This has to be there at every location, else API authentication will not be there. So
Right.
yeah. So this is the for this is for etcd. Now get comfortable with controller manager also, which is here. And controller manager, see that here. Controller manager talk to the API server. Remember that. So here you have a CA certificate, CA file, and this is the cluster signing request. This is a Kubernetes PK and all cert file. This is a key file, and this is the root CA file which is being used. So get comfortable with anything which is a CRT and key. Okay, and you have to practice it a little bit here. Now, last one, which is scheduler.
Yeah, I think I understand that. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the scheduler one. Here, this not this. Where is scheduler? Should be there somewhere on top. Scheduler talk to the API server for that. Okay. So scheduler talk to the API server. So scheduler, okay. So see here that motion. Scheduler only talk to the API server. Okay. So in that case, the API server already updated with the scheduler key. And here configuration has been added for this one. So all this key and certificate you will have in this file. This is the key config file for scheduling. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is the things. So more or less we did it. Now the question is, how do we create a certificate manually using OpenSSL? So now I'll show you this command. So Kubernetes OpenSSL. Okay, so this is the one utility which you have for this. Easy RSA, but I'm not using this one. I'm using OpenSSL. Okay.
Yep.
So now, very first day, if you want to do everything, you want to change it. So very first day. So what you will do? Let's say you want to first set up a CA. That's the first activity. So how do we do that? So first thing, you will run this command. This is the one. What is this one? So this will create a CA file, and here this CA file is created. Now, if you search for this, let me find dot name and ca dot key etc Kubernetes. Sorry, etc Kubernetes. See here, this file is already there. So what is the path? You have to remember this path. It will help you. So this is the file for the CA. Okay.
CA.
Now, this is for the etcd. Etcd is a different component. So remember that. This is the CA file for API server for the master. Okay. So you created this file. Now let's say, what is this? 242048. So this is the bit actually. So you generated this CA file. After that, you will generate
CSR.
Yeah, CSR file, CRT file, not CSR.
Okay.
Remember
Okay.
that
Oh, sorry.
CSR is not needed because you are
For a
CA.
CA.
Yeah.
You are a CA. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So which algorithm is being used? So this is a 509
X509.
algorithm. If you remember that in Kubernetes authentications, uh, okay, and quickly I'll just go for this. Here it's supported. This is the X059 and token and OpenID also supported somewhere downside here. Okay, so you're generating because of this algorithm you're using, because of that's supported by Kubernetes. So now let's understand this code and run this. So now here, okay, just okay, clear the screen. Here, what you are saying, OpenSSL request for what? Request for new what? Output. What is that? This is the CRT. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, look at this here. OpenSSL request using this algorithm. New what? Output. What is that? CRT file. Now using what key? The CA file. Now here, if you see that, what is that? So basically, this CA CRT file you are creating from the member, which is here CR is equal to member, the IP address of master IP address. Master IP
in the green belt, Six Sigma, HR analytics, இதெல்லாம் இதுக்கு டக்குது.
Sorry, is it coming from Joyce?
இதெல்லாம் இதுக்கு டக்குது, ஜோதி.
Joyce, can you please go on mute, if you don't mind?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, Rajesh, go ahead.
Yeah, so here I was showing you, right, this master IP address is the private IP address, real IP address of your server. So in your case, this is your IP address. The IP address which I gave it to you should not be used. It's the public IP address. Okay, that's not real IP address. So this is the IP address. So what I'll do, I'll copy this command here. Here. And replace this one with this one. That means this is your master IP address. Now let's say if you have a multiple master, then you have to create using the multiple IP address. Remember that. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So how many days of your this valid? So usually it's too many days actually, 10,000 days.
Mm.
But practice is called like it should be 365 days. That means you should
Mhm.
rotate the key in on every
Every year.
360. Yeah,
Mhm.
every 365 days. So this is the you created a certificate file, CRT. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a CRT file you created, and done. Now this file and this file you
Mhm.
will keep it where you know that very well. This is the
etc Kubernetes.
yeah. So CRT. So that means you updated the two file, which is a key
Mhm.
file and CRT. That means your CA is updated. Okay. After that,
But I mean, we didn't update it yet, right? I mean, we just
no, you
created.
have to replace that. You have
You
to
have to
replace
replace
that. It will get updated. So I'm not replacing
it.
right now because my clusters, everything has to be updated again. Then.
Correct.
This
Correct.
is the first step. Okay. After that,
Mhm.
what you have to do? Remember, you have to regenerate a key for CRT file for everything. What everything? You have to generate for the API server. You have to generate for scheduler. You have to
etcd and all of
yeah, every component you have to do the same operation. But not this one. You will do that first CSR, and then you generate a certificate using this CA.
right,
Sorry,
right. You sign
this
it
one.
with this CA. Okay.
Yes, you have to replace that. And then path may remain same, file will change actually.
Yeah. Got it.
Are you- Yeah. So now we did this. So this is done. Now here you are creating a server key. This is the after this CA certificate you got it, you have to create a server key. Okay. This is server dot
Mm.
key. And after that, this you are doing for the all other utilities. So here, see here. Here you are doing for all other utilities. So server key is generated.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, here you are creating a CSR file. So create a
Got it.
config file for generating a CSR file. And for that, request this you have to specify DN extension if you want, alternative names, and some extensions. So here, request for what? So request for all these things you have to modify if you really want it. Bits not required. Prompt yes, no, whatever. SHA and DN. This is the real things you have to do that. Country, state,
Mm-hmm.
city, organization. This is just to set up a CA server for the trust. For the trust. Okay, so
Yeah.
server dot key, you'll have to set up a trust for that. So these are the CA trust actually. So anyone who wants to see that, who's a CA, what is a country, what is a state, and all stuff like that, you can do that. This is the
Is this for CA or the CSR?
no, this is for the CSR for
Mm-hmm.
the CA for the trust authority. So this is the
Okay.
all this thing you have to. It's a one-time activity, and
Okay.
after that, generate a signing certificate signing request based on the config file. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this is the request what output. What output? CSR. So here you generated a key. Okay. Here you generated a
Mm-hmm.
key, and here you are generating a
CSR.
CSR file. Now, but too many output, too many input to generate to pass, right? Too many input to pass. This is a
Yeah,
too
yeah,
many
yeah.
input. So what you did, this all this thing you modify and put it in conf file, this file.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that way you don't have to pass too many on command line. And what is
Sure.
the private key? Private key is here. So output will be this one. So this is the CSR file. Now using this CSR file, you
Mm-hmm.
are allowing here. Look at this here. Using this, see here. Request
Mm-hmm.
for what? Request for output. CRT file. For what? Server. Server means self server, master server. IP address you have here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a multiple IP address of the master, you can give it IP1, IP2 like this. So only one IP is required for time being.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here request for output what? Certificate. But for certificate, I need a CRT. Sorry, CSR. So where is the
Right.
input? So input is here. Okay. but only CA can release the certificate. So where is the CA information? So CA CRT is here and key is here. Okay. After that, CA required some inputs from you. What input? That means how many days this certificate will be valid. This one. And now that all the rest of the entry, if you want to make it extensive, this is not important though. But when you are setting up a CA master server, it's good to practice it. So this is the things. Are you understanding?
Got it.
Now,
Got it.
this will generate a CRT. Now you can this command is just to view that. Okay, and this command only to view the certificate. So this is a certificate, this is a CR file, and done. So ultimately, this is the server.crt. So if anyone wants to talk to, if server wants to talk to any component, then server.crt is needed, and this you can get it done also. So let me show you the server.crt file. So see here, this is the server.crt file. So this server.crt is being used for this one. So this is the master setup. So in the master setup, you set up a CA and you set up a server.crt for this particular master IP address. And after that, for each and everything, you have to set up a same process. You have to set up, for example, these are the files which you have, right? These are the files. So now you know that ca.crt and ca.key. So for each component, you have to set up a scheduler.crt, scheduler.key, controller.crt, controller.key. Same thing. The process command will be same. Output will be this one. Input will be this one, and CSR file. Input will be CSR file plus CA will be this one. Understood?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So now I'll show you one external authentications also. How do you use the external authentication? So mkdir user. Okay. So go inside the user. Now what I'm doing right now, I'm creating one additional user. Okay. Additional user. So how do I create additional user in the which user I'm talking about? So let me say I'm talking about this one. Okay.
Okay.
So this I'll show you how can you create and how to use it. So let me just this all documents also you'll find on the official documents, but I'm just stealing the code from my notes, so it'll be faster for me. Okay, so first thing, this is the, let's say I want to connect from these machines. So I'll create one private key. Done. This is my employee.key, so my private key. Now, what I'm doing, look at this here. This I'm creating a
CSR.
Now, this is important. Okay. So here, whatever you specify CN is equal to, that will be name, and O is equal to, that will be group. So that means group you may have a multiple actually. User you may have a multiple part of the same group. Bitname is equal to employee is a username. Okay.
Okay.
So little bit of OpenSSL reading also if you do that, so it'll be easier for you.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. So here, now this is the key and this is CSR file. Now this CSR file you will send to the admin. Fortunately, I am the admin and I am the CA also in the same server. So what I'll do, I'll use directly this command. So what you have, look at this, OpenSSL request in this CSR file. What is output? Output is CRT file. Now who's the CA? So this is the file which I'm using, full path. Okay. And for how many days this certificate should be valid? For 500 days. Okay. So right now I run this, enter. Now you got this CRT file. So ultimately user need to add this CRT file and key file just to get access. So what he will do, let me show you before that, kubectl config view. So here you have only one user. This is the admin user. Look at this. There's only one cluster, and there's only one user, which is a Kubernetes admin, and this is only one context also. Okay, so I'm going to add this user somewhere here. Okay, so how do I add it? So this is the command kubectl config set credential. This is for the adding user. Where the employee CRT file. So the location is somewhere under the user root. So I need to modify this path and this path also.
Yep.
And so root user / root user. Enter. I set the employee set. Now, if you see that here, new employee has been added, and then he will have access to. The context is not set right now. We have to set the context. He'll have access to the API server. Okay. So if you want to set
he will have admin access only.
No. Remember that there is a two things actually. One is called authentication. Okay, we'll discuss in some time. And one is authorization. Yeah. So here I enable only authentication. That means you can log in, but do nothing as nothing. So if you want to do something, for that you have to enable authorization, which is called
authorization.
Yeah, ARC. Yeah. So if you want to set that employee context, new context, so here this command will help you. And here you see setting the new context. What I did, I am adding in the worker machine. Why I'm adding in this machine? My bad, sorry. So yeah, here, sorry. Clear the here, adding the context. Now you see that here there's a context also added. So I see here user got added here, and context I can't see here. So here it's there. So this is the older context for the admin. This is the employee context. Now you can create a office, but no access has been given, so you'll not be able to do that. Okay, and now this is I did through the admin. Now if you do the context using employee, you will have no access. See. So now authorizations we'll discuss a little bit later. But overall, this is the certificate, world of certificate, and your primary work to identify each certificate and keep rotating it every 365 days as part of the practice. OpenSSL is the one which you can use it. How to modify the pod and all. You don't need to modify the pod, but you have to just replace the file. The file location, every certificate file which you see in the master, you will have find dot etc Kubernetes and what is this star.crt. Sorry, there's problem. I'm
hyphen name.
Yeah. Dot p. Something wrong. Find. Let me go to this location. No, it was hyphen name only. Find dot name. Oh no, start dot. These are the CRT. Why didn't work actually? Current context they have taken. Absolute path they have not taken. Okay, so these are the CRT you have to replace with. So this for the API server, this is CA.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so get it out. Okay, so now let's move on. So we understood this. Now, scheduler file will not be having certificate, it will be having config files, remember that. Now, in the kubelet, that name, while creating a certificate, you have to use that CN, system : see, this is the CN information. CN means, I think you understand that, right?
Common name, yeah.
This is the year, yeah. So you have to use this some of the terminology here. So for if you create any keys or certificate, then you have to use the CN system Q scheduler. So it will be acting. Why you have to use it? Because annotation is there. Okay. So that way it will be easy for kubelet system node 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to write it for that. And API server, you have to use this as annocation. So sorry, CM API server Kubernetes default SBC. So that's the reason you might have seen that when I did the container. Okay. So now, yeah. So this part we have discussed more or less. Configure component to encrypt traffic. So
Yeah.
yeah, configure. So the process is very simple now. You know that. So certificate sign request. All requests in the cluster must be signed by our own CA, and trusted connections. Server and client must have a copy of the CA root certificate. That means what is the CA root certificate trusted on? So if you see that kubectl config view, no. Just a mm, mm, home.cube config. This is the trusted data. So this has to be there in the each node and get it done. So now this I have shown you how to look for it and what to look for it. So you're comfortable. This is the API server pod. Okay. So one more thing,
Yeah.
any change. So any changes you can modify this location. Look at this etc manifest, etc Kubernetes manifest. So if you go for these locations, get comfortable with all these locations, will be useful for you. So cd etc Kubernetes manifest. So all these files you have to modify if you really want to modify. So this is the etcd YAML, this is the API server, this is the controller manager and scheduler. Any modification you do, you just do it here, and then what you need to do, I think you know that very well. Apply and get it done. Getting my points?
Yeah.
So
I think when we edit the YAML, it automatically restarts the pod, right? If I'm not wrong. If I make any change to the Kube-Episerver YAML.
no. Then see here. Any I need to draw a picture, else difficult to explain. What you said?
No. What I'm saying is, so you are saying if I make a change to the YAML, I need to apply it, right?
Yeah, you have to
But
apply using
but
you need to apply using. There's a concept. I think this was a part of CK also. There's a concept called static pod. Do you know that, right?
yeah, but what
These are the
I'm saying
static pod
is
actually.
okay, but I recall that if we edit this API YAML file, right,
Mhm.
it automatically restarts the relevant pod. I mean, you can try that now
Yeah.
also.
So
It's,
let's understand this way. Okay.
sure.
See here. These are the static pod. This pod, this pod, and this pod, all are static pod. Who's creating this pod? So is creating the kubelet, where here it is. Okay. So you can, this kubelet is creating using this file to create this pod. Okay.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
you modify this file, you have to also apply through the kubelet. So new changes will take place. Got it?
Okay.
So this is the
No,
configuration.
I got what you are trying to say, Rajesh. But what I'm saying is, what I've observed is that if I edit the file, maybe it is a different configuration or something, but the pod restarts on its own. So maybe I'm not sure, but yeah, maybe we'll
Maybe
see it later in the
maybe you're
during the
talking
course.
about the edit option actually. Maybe if you modify this,
If I kubectl edit,
then
uh,
that's okay. That is a different concept.
no.
Yeah.
Sorry. Not even kubectl edit. If I just edit that under etc Kubernetes manifest, if I edit that kube API file, uh, it restarts the pod and
So the reason I
picks
did.
up the change.
At the region, I'll tell you. Look at this here. This is the kubelet running. Okay. And it's running. Okay. So somewhere, too many entries are there. So
Yeah.
look at
Kube
the
API.
manifest. Grep mani. Just a second. So it's reading that all the files as a service. So that maybe that you are talking about that.
Correct. Yeah. Right.
So is the configuration file, where's the configuration? Just a second, hold on. etc kubectl config. Do you see this somewhere? There's a client certificate. Okay, anyway, somewhere in the it's here. So this file, you have a manifest added that file, that location. So could be because of that reason.
Yeah.
Here, this is no. Okay, I'll just search for a little bit later. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Wait a second. I think this is the one.
Manifest. Yeah. Static path. It is there. Scroll down. Yeah. Static pod path. etc Kubernetes manifest.
Where? I see. Yeah. So
yeah.
Because of that, maybe you're modifying that one. So it's running the.
Hello everyone, if you would like to access the remaining videos of this playlist of 50 plus more tools which are coming under DevOps, DevSecOps, SRE, DataOps, GitOps, etc. Kindly become our channel members by clicking on the joining button. You would have access to 100s of playlists and 1000s of videos lifetime access with this membership. Enjoy.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.